Welcome everyone to tonight's episode of Profound States. Tonight we have a very special guest, Veronica Bartolini. She was in the Secret Space Programs, also known as SSP, which included the Monarch, Project Saturn, Project Mannequin, um, which was CIA Assassins, and the Beta Project and the Sex Kitten Project, Alter Lisa Monroe. She was also in projects Kruger, Nachtwaffen, Shaw House, Crystal Gates, also called Clone Mirror, working with Super Dolphins soldiers in the Regrowth Project and Protected Portals. Veronica was also in Project Stargate 1, known as the Monroe Project and Project Pegasus. She was also a part of Umbrella Corporation's Hulk program, which started at Black Shield, known as the Blue Ranger. The Blue Ranger was intended and designed as a cowboy prototype super soldier, but there was an explosion. Subsequent mutations occurred. The result of the explosion was the Incredible Hulk. The project was then replicated on other super soldiers, including James Ring's clone, Rob Richter and Veronica's clone named Sheila the She-Hulk. I don't necessarily want to read all of her bio because it's too long. So I'm going to let that go and just welcome her. Welcome to tonight's show, Veronica.
Thank you, Mr. Beaver.
It sounds like you've been used and abused quite a bit.
Yeah, but no more. No more.
All right, so why don't we start from the beginning? On some shows they get into indies and they start right on the indie. And to me, the beginning is when you were born. So the beginning in this case would be the first memory you have of anything odd in your lifetime. So why don't you look back in your life in your memory and think about anything that's happened to you that's strange of any kind. Doesn't matter what kind of event it is. If it was a strange event and you find it interesting to speak about, start there.
Strange is that I have memories of being 3 years old. I have memories of being in my mother's womb as well. But she had a C-section, so I know I was part of the abandonment, what do they call it? The surrogate abandonment project. So my family is not really my family. I don't really belong here on Earth. I came in as a shooting star. That's what I remember. Somehow I got captured here. They switched. I'm pretty sure they switched me when I was, a child. Of course, I do have some of my father's DNA and my mother's DNA, but I'm pretty much from here. So
hold on for a second. Okay, back up. You say you were a shooting star. What do you remember about being a shooting star?
I could go anywhere, be anywhere. I don't know how I got captured.
You're saying you have pre-birth memories.
Yeah, so pre-birth memories. It was pretty like in the third trimester. That's when they probably put me in there. And I remember going through the light tunnel. I do remember being in a lab many times as a baby, we can say. At a year and a half, I have memories of being under the water with the dolphin program. That was a year and 8 months when they took me, according to Peter, the Insider ACIO. I have memories of when I was 3 years old, swimming without having to breathe underwater. I would wake up, and I would be the first one to wake up in the household at 3 years old, just watching the TV, and it would be with the snow on the screen. And that's pretty much how I would be taken to these programs. But I do remember being on spaceships. with Andromedan family, being tested with cubes and things like that, going through portals, going through wormholes. I have memories of that. So then my mother put me in Head Start when I was 3 years old, and then they would take us to these field trips. I remember being by the lake. We had to. I know my father helped me to make this little wooden little car or boat, and they had us do kinds of weird things like hold hands with the kids. The many buses that we had to go to. We even when I moved to Tucson, because I was born in Nogales, Sonora, Mexico. So when I was a year old, we went to live. My family and I. They took me to Nogales, Arizona. I lived right in front of Lincoln Elementary School, which I thought was kind of weird. It was a very small house, and to my left was the playground. I remember being alone a lot, most of the time as a child, playing by myself. And I do remember where we had a neighbor that had a pool. So I would sneak out, like everybody was asleep. And this was again at 3 years old, 3 to 4. And I'd go to the neighbors, and then I don't remember what happened. All I remember was waking up when my mom was swatting me on my butt, because she's like, "You're not allowed to go to the neighbors. You're not allowed to leave without permission." So I have a lot of lost time there. So I was taken a lot. I was in ESL.
You were taken a lot,
like field trips, taken meaning missing time. I know I've been on the moon and Mars, Uranus. I remember that. Venus.
When you say you were taken a lot, who took you? Aliens or humans?
I'm pretty sure it was the government. The alphabet soups.
Okay, so what's the earliest memory what's the earliest memory in this life where you feel like the government took you? What were you? How old were you, and how did it happen?
What I remember is 3 years old.
What happened?
There was a man waiting for me outside, and he's like, "Give me your hand. We're gonna go somewhere." It was this man, and the next thing I know, I'm on a ship, and there was these. I think they're Andromedan. I'm not sure, but they had these black eyes that are, how do you say, oval sideways. They have hair, but it's like stuck on their head. One of them was in a purple suit, the other one in a blue, the other one yellow. There was one female. She was really tall. So it could have been, we'll say the MIB or the government pretty much dressing up like aliens because we were children. I know there are aliens, but at the same time, I know that most of the time I call them the people that are above the dome, because we're in a dome. On Earth, we have a dome above and below. Some people call it the veil. I call it the glass dome. You'll see it through the suns. A lot of people say we have two suns, and the rainbows are not rainbows. They're just, when you look at the sun and there's these arcs, right? Because they have two mirrors on Earth. So when I say the people above the dome, it's pretty much how it's humans, but with technology. We've come way before Atlantis. I have memories of being in Atlantis. I have memories of being in Egypt. We just are now in this stage. And
so you're saying that you blur other lifetimes, that you remember your other lifetimes. And so, okay, so when you were 3 years old, a man came and took you somewhere on a ship.
Yes, it was in, it looked like the Bell, like the German Bell spaceship. And it was like a lavender, kind of like a silver and lavender, very shiny, sleek ship. And later on, I was sick all the time. My mom took me to the dentist. All of a sudden, I had 7 cavities where I was like, how am I going to have 7 cavities? My mom and my father were very strict on us brushing our teeth and, doing the whole hygiene thing. And, well, I have implants. And recently, I've had my 23rd surgery. I'm about to have my 24th surgery. Since I was 18, I've had surgeries, and they pretty much messed up my body with implants. When I was in the military as well, they shot me up with the anthrax shot. I've had 2 spinal surgeries. I have titanium in there. My feet. I've had so many surgeries.
So when did you have your first dental surgery ever?
I was about 8 years old, I think, 7 to 8 years old, when my mother took us to my sisters and I to the dentist. And about 7 to 8 years old, I remember it was going to be my 8th birthday when we moved here. That's when we started going to this place called El Rio Health. Like my mom would always take us there. They were always taking blood from me. I was always sick. My mom had to shoot me up. What I say shoot me up is give me penicillin shots, which I hated. I had a lot
I had those too.
Yeah, it's horrible. The glass ones.
Well, okay, so my body is a little different. I mean, I was born with a large heart, a hole in my heart, a heart murmur, all these different issues, and I never had all the childhood diseases that people have, that what they get from going to the hanging out at the where parents drop their kids off at the daycare, and you get it from all the other kids. Well, I never had to go through. I never had to stay at a daycare when I was a kid. I stayed across the street with a older lady so I never caught any diseases from other kids because I never had to interact with them as a kid. And so I didn't get any of that, but I did have diseases I was born with, like the ones I just mentioned: large heart, hole in my heart, heart murmur, et cetera, et cetera. And so they wanted to give me a very, very painful penicillin shot every month of my life, or make me take penicillin pills constantly every single day, a bunch of them. And so it was one or the other. And so I preferred to have a nasty shot once a month than having to take all those pills. So I know how you feel
Hey,
about that.
sorry, it makes me wonder what they did to you.
Well,
Maybe you were using the programs too.
I have a background I don't know that I was used in any of the programs like you're talking about, but I do have you can go listen to, I've done 34 interviews, so I've had a lot of experience, but it's just in a different area. You and I are like from different worlds. My world is paranormal and alien, and with a minor in aliens, not like I went and hung out with the aliens once a day or once a month or once a year. But I've had some alien encounters, but on very rare occasion. But your video is frozen, so this
Oh,
connection is really terrible. So
I
all we've got is audio, but that's okay. We'll just go with what we've got.
okay.
So, um, so you had a guy take you to a ship who was human, and you were 3 years old, correct?
Yes, and they had us play with this thing. Like it kind of looked like a cube, like a Rubik's cube. And there was other children there in like a round table, and they were just telling us, "Hey, put this together, put it apart. We want to pretty much they wanted to see what we can do." And when I started to do it, trying to figure out with my hand, the lady telepathically told me, "Do it with your mind." They look like they look like freaking aliens. Okay, these people, in my mind, they're aliens, but I mean, they
Well,
could have been,
the
you know.
if you're talking about MIBs, okay, there are many different stories about MIBs, and some of them, um, most of them, they look like humans, but they're not humans. They just look like humans.
Like humanoids.
Yeah, well, they look like totally like humans, except like their skin color might be off, or and they don't really know what it means to be a human, but they look like a human, except for maybe their skin color is different, and they don't know what a pencil is. Really simple human stuff they don't understand. Things like that. Now, I'm not an expert on MIBs, but I've just heard stories. I've never encountered one myself. I've encountered craft, I've encountered aliens, I have not encountered MIBs. So the people on the craft, the guy that grabbed you when you were 3, took you on the craft, describe those humans or whatever you think they were, regardless of what you think they were, describe them again.
I think they were Andromedans, because I
Well,
always they, like I said, one of them the female was in a like a purple lavender suit. She was really tall. She was maybe about 6'6", 6'5". She had kind of curly brownish hair, but it was like stuck to her scalp.
so it wasn't real.
It, to me, in my mind, I'm like, what are these things? You know, are these are these to me as a child they were aliens.
Well,
But
that's fine if that's whatever your impressions are. To me, that's totally valid. You don't have to explain
no,
your
no, I
impressions.
know it's just a lot of what it is because where we live, there is a lot of talk about the UFO invasion and all that stuff. And a lot of the times it's the alphabet soups that pretty much use the technology and will pretend that they're
Pretend to
aliens.
be aliens.
Right. But I
Okay.
have seen in my mind's eye, before I go to sleep, sometimes I'll see this reptilian being, and he has like very shimmery. He has scales like a dinosaur, and he's like a rainbow kind of a colored. Kind of looks like a dragon because I have a lot of memories of being in a dragon land, and my grandfather was there. We were the gold dragons in one of my lifetimes. So, but this particular one looks like a kind of like a reptilian, like a dragon. When I first had my awakening, I saw all kinds of black, kind of dragon beings. I had to sleep with my light on for about a month or two. They were everywhere. I saw them in the ships. I can still see the ships when they're outside. They're not clouds, those are ships. Those are cities that are right above us. Okay. They're there. There's traffic at night, there's traffic during the day. At night, you can see the grid more. We're not alone because we're with the others, you know, we're with some of them chose to be in the planets above us or the dome above us, or some of us are here, you know, on Earth. And when I get the ringing in my ear, sometimes I'm like, okay, are they like beaming me up, Scotty? Because I'll be washing the dishes or reading or driving, and it'll be the tones, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to go to your spaceship. No, I'm not going to go to be used again.
So you get a ringing ears before you're taken onto ships.
Yes, and I do not consent. You know, another thing that it could be is in Project Ibis and Project Mannequin is they want to do what they call the Manchurian Candidate. They'll sometimes send those things to your ear, or if you're on the phone and somebody calls you, like I have a phone that I hook in, but for a month now I don't hook it in anymore because they'll call me with tones, and I'm like, no, I do not consent, like a fax, machine tone. And some of the time, what they want, which is the DoD, they is the DoD, okay, Department of Defense, along with Project Umbrella and all the other black ops that you want, DARPA, et cetera, all the alphabet soups. They get together, they have little groups to monitor you. So they're like, okay, today we want Veronica to be an assassin for us in this, because we need her to kill off this person or whatever. Or we need her to be the sex kitten because we need information from this guy. I do not consent to that anymore. I'm not dating anymore. There's a lot of times where they would send the CIA, what I call the CIA love bites. Okay, it could be friends, it could be guys to, for you to go and have relations with. They just want information. Okay, they'll tug at your heart. They're like, oh, this person needs help. Let's go help that person. But they end up using you. So there's a movie called Manchurian Candidate. I recommend people to see that. That's to get an idea of how they kind of like morph you by the tone into being another alter, because we all have alters. Sometimes they're called multiple personalities. Lately, they call it dissociative identity disorder because
So
there's
how many personalities do you have?
that I know of. I have about 28 right now that I've written down.
So one of
But
the people I interviewed recently, I think she said something about 128 or some huge number. It was very
it,
large.
yeah, it's 13 by 13 by 13 by 13. It's the cube. Okay, they put you in a cube, and whatever the dimensions are of the cube, 13 by however many sides are in a cube, that's how many personalities that they can build in one person. I'm pretty sure I have more than 28. I am sure. That's why I don't drink anymore. I don't smoke anymore. I quit organic cigarettes. That's what I was smoking because of my divorce. It was really hard. Um, I don't, because anytime you drink or you're under whatever kind of thing that is outside of your body, it just makes it easier for them to use you. And it's like, no, I've isolated myself, and that's another program that they have, which is Project Artichoke. They want you to be alone. Well, I'd rather be here alone than over there doing their dirty work, or when I fall asleep. I have chronic PTSD. I recommend this book. It's called Healing from PTSD. I thought I had, yeah, here it is. Hold on a moment. Time to Heal by Kathy O'Brien, PTSD. I recently started wearing a watch. I never wanted to wear a watch because I was done. I was in the military and I was police and I was always looking at my watch. But now I know why. We have to get a watch, guys, because we have lost time and we want to know where we are.
Well,
Right before, huh?
Kathy O'Brien was
Yeah,
a mind control
yeah,
slave.
and fail from. Yep, that's what we were. Some of us were that.
She has there's a book called Transformations. Is that her book?
This one's called PTSD Time to Heal, but I'm sure she has others.
Yeah, I just know she's associated with something about transformation. Um, I don't remember the title, but I just
Mhm.
remember a book that she was associated with. I don't know if it was a book about her or by her.
I also have memories. I know she talks about how she was using the government, but I have memories of being with Hillary Clinton in Mexico in my grandmother's house, and there was two men in black there, what they call two men in black, with her, doing some very ugly sexual things to me, which I'm not going to get into. Um,
Well, I don't expect you to
yeah, here it is. It
go
says,
back through traumatic events. It's not the book.
yeah, here is PTSD Time to Heal, and then she says there's a website called www.trance, TRANCE, in big capital letters, and then tag or dash formations.com. And then she has www.forreasonsofnationalsecurity.com and www.ptsdtimetoheal.com. Those are the three that she put here. Yeah, but
So,
this book has been helping me, but it does trigger me, so I had to stop. I think I read like maybe 10 pages and I'm like, okay, I gotta stop. It's a
so
lot.
it does trigger you?
Yeah, I'm still healing. I just broke away from the super soldier groups on Facebook a good 2 years ago. Um, there's a lot of what I call sex kitten ring going on there. I won't really get into it too much, but there was a guy there who said, oh, we're twin flames. And guess what? I'm going to leave my wife and marry you. And I ended up in Kingsman, Arizona and in Needles, California, because supposedly we're looking for a house. And I told my kids I'm leaving. I'm going to move and I'm going to get married. Yeah, right. This stuff is horrific what they do in those programs. It still exists. It still exists. They have double lives. You know, I can go on and on.
So, your mind control, you have a mind control past, you have a super soldier past, and you were taken by somebody at the age of 3 who was either aliens or pretending to be aliens.
Right. And
Is that-
then after, do you want me to go like after that? Or, I mean, we were on the ship, and they wanted us to come up with these, fix these puzzles in a cube form. And then when I tried, like I said, when I tried to do it with my hands, the female person or alien, whatever you want to call her, she said, "Hey, do it with your mind." So then I lifted the cube with my mind. I'm also able to levitate. When I was a child, I was a somnambula. So it was somnambulism. My dad had it too. I had it too.
You were
And
somnambulistic.
yes. And so there's a time I was, let's see, how old was I? I was 6 years old, and I see myself getting up, putting my backpack on, and then I see myself on top of myself going and walking toward the door. And my mom says, "No, it's Saturday. You get to stay home," in Spanish, right? And then years later, I tell my mom, "Hey, mom, was it a dream, or I saw myself, I was in my yellow suit," because we had little yellow suits where they cover your feet and your hands when you sleep. And I would put on the backpack, and she said, "Yes, it's real. You were trying to go to school." So I was being mind controlled to go to school, but maybe they got it wrong. My mother was up, she had to be up by 5 because she had to make lunch for my dad. And breakfast. So it's really interesting in hindsight, the things that they try and do. And
so they were going to take you while your parents weren't watching if you made it out of the house.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so go to your next event that you remember that was odd. Just keep going through them. Don't wait for me to tell. Just take one odd event after the other, and don't gloss past any odd events unless it's something that's extremely traumatic. There's no reason for you to relive those. But short of that,
there's a few that I still think about. Like, what the heck was it? I had my awakening in 2017, what they call awakening. I started listening to Max Spears. He's one of my brothers, the super soldier. He was killed off, unfortunately. And I started hearing I started crying when I found out he was dead. I'm like, why am I crying? Why? So memories started popping up and popping up. And I said, because I did have a near-death experience in Halloween of 2010. My ex-husband, it was between my ex-husband and I. I don't remember grabbing my weapon. To make a long story short, I was in the hospital for a month and a half. I died for 3 days. Okay, we're not going to get into that yet. If you want to do another interview, that's fine, or I can tell you.
So go through the time your near-death experience, the part where you were on the other side. I don't care about your
right.
I don't care about your conflict with your husband. What I want to hear is when you were out of your body, that part.
So what I remember is I remember waking up, and I was on a table, and there was many doctors around me. There was about 20. Later on, I was confirmed that 20 doctors helped to save me. 20 doctors and a light. And then they put a plastic thing on my left, on the side of my left breast, because they had said that the lung had collapsed. Later on, they said that. Well, I remember screaming. They didn't give me any anesthesia. And then they put a black velvet thing over my mouth. And the next thing that I remember, I get up from the bed, and I'm in my nightgown from the gown that they give you at the hospital. And I look around, and there's these dark beings. They're like charcoal blue and like black, and they're cut in half, and they're like looking at me like this. They're hanging out on top of the machine that was, in other words, I went in code blue. I flatlined. I died for 3 days. My mom called everybody. She's dying. I saw these beings, and they were on the floor, and I was trying to like not step on them. I kept walking, and I saw a light around the door. So never go to the light. I always tell people, don't go to the light. You're going to come right back. So I opened the door and I was trying to look for a doctor or a nurse because I'm like, what am I doing here in the hospital? So when I opened the door, I'm back in my room again, same nightgown, but the beings were gone. They had, the beings, by the way, had like the yellow eyes and black jagged haircut, all the same short haircut. And when I opened the door, they were gone, but my dad was in that corner. He was right in the corner of my room, and he unfortunately took his life when I was 13. So he was there, and I cried to him in Spanish. I said, please, I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back. I want to stay here with you. And he says, no, mijita. He gave me a hug, and he says, you can't go back. You can't stay with me. You have your 2 kids. You're not done. You got to go back.
How old were you when this happened?
This was in Halloween of 2010. So what are we in? 2023 now, almost. Oh, let me do the calculator thing. 13 years ago.
I mean, how old were you at the time?
Well, I'm not really good with math, so I can do quantum physics, but I suck at math. 39.
You were 39.
Yeah.
Okay, so at the age of 39, you died. You're on the other side. Your dad is there. You want to stay with him. Go from there.
But he doesn't let me. I cry and cry. I keep crying, nothing, holding on to him as tight as I can. The next thing I know, I take a deep breath. Boom, I'm back in my body. I'm like, what the, I'm taking everything out. Why am I being held down? There was tubes in my nose, tubes in my throat.
So you weren't on the other side very long.
I was there for 3 days.
On the other side?
Yes, sir.
So what happened besides you hugged your dad in the corner of the room? What else happened for 3 days?
Well, I saw those beings. I don't know if I was fighting them off with my sword or...
Describe the beings.
They look like the Hindu blue beings that they try and fight for your soul.
You're talking about the blue gods of India?
Yes.
They're just like humans, but they're blue.
Yep. So a bunch of them, they had the black hair. I do have a book. I don't have it with me right now. It's in the storage, but it's interesting. A few years ago, I bought some Hindu books. They were like a huge stack for like $100. And I started reading them. And in one of them, they have those gods there fighting for a human, for the picture is a guy that's dying. His spirit's coming out and they're fighting for his soul, either to take it away from him or to, I don't know why they're fighting. I haven't read it yet, but that's exactly those beings that were in the other side. So I don't know if I killed them off.
When you take yourself back for a moment, when you're in their presence, what impression did you get from them?
I didn't like them. I felt they were taking my soul. So I think I got rid of them.
You thought they were evil. Okay, so go on. What else happened during your 3 days while you're out?
Well, I was driving in my patrol car.
While you're on the other side?
On the other side, I was in my patrol car, but it kind of felt like a spaceship, but it was my patrol car. And they wanted me to end my ex's life because they wanted him and me to go and do a battle. He was in his truck and he had a bunch of police officers with him. And I was in my vehicle alone, and they wanted us to go crash head on, which I didn't. When I was about to crash into him, I said, no, I'm not that type of person. And then that's when I went into the other realm where I woke up, and then, the other things happened. Those are the 2 events that I remember that happened when I was out. And
but you don't remember much of 3 days.
No, and now, when I remote view myself back, and it makes sense that those that I would have most likely probably got rid of them with my sword, cut them in half, because I'm not letting anybody take my soul. I'm not letting anybody take me to the moon. I'm not letting them take my memories. I'm not letting them send me back to Saturn to reincarnate me. I am not coming back, and they want my soul. and I'm not letting them have it. So they try with the CIA love bite.
So
all this stuff.
you're 34, you had a near-death experience. Go to your next
39.
your next interesting experience after your near-death experience.
So then I started listening to the Max Beers and started getting all my memories back, and well, most of them. And
Oh, stop. So
yes,
what um you're listening to Max Spears, but what was happening in your life that caused you to get your memories back? What was the what was the
wow,
stimulus that caused your memories to return?
a lot, a lot. I had gotten a divorce.
So you're saying you were under stress.
I was under stress, yeah, and I had to live with a friend who was a psychic, and she said, we would do psychic things together. She was teaching me how to get stronger, and I got stronger and stronger. And then one day, I'm like, what the heck am I doing here on Earth? Like, after listening to Max Fears, I'm like, is this crap real? Why am I still here on Earth? If there is really a God, which is not the God here, the Bible that they talk about, something beyond. I said, if there's really something beyond that gives a crap about me, in other words, of course, I need to know. And I had a rosary on my left hand, and I was burning a candle, and I had my prayer beads on my right, and I fell to my knees when this light came out of my chest. This really happened. Came out of my chest. I went to my knees, and at the same time, I heard a snap outside. Shooting, like something had burnt outside, like something just came down, crashed, and my roommates. I was like, "Did you guys hear that? Did you guys see the light?" They're like, "Yes." Then we went outside, and there was these other neighbors.
Oh, hold on, back up.
Said, what the hell was that?
Back up for a second. Okay,
Yeah,
your connection, my connection to you really got bad as you were
I know.
telling that story. So tell it again.
They don't want me talking, but I don't care. I will continue. So I was asking something out there. I said, if there's something, that's out there that really loves me, like further than
Yeah,
the gods of this earth,
right.
I need to know.
I got that
So
part.
the light went out. The light went out, came out. Sorry, there was a light that came out of my chest. I went to my knees, and at the same time that the light came out, there was like a shooting star or something, like a fuego, fire, boom, and it just went. And we were like, what the hell just happened? Like a flare came down, and it made this huge noise. And I thought, oh, shoot, maybe an asteroid? I don't know. What happened? So we go out. My roommates and I go out. My neighbors are like, what the heck was that? We're like, did you see that? Did you hear that? Yes. But there was nothing there. Nothing on the ground.
So the light came out of you. What happened to the light after it came out of you?
It just, we were amazed. Like, what happened? We were like wondering, what the hell just happened? And
But did the light, was the light there in front of you after it came out of you, or what? What happened to the light?
the light was here, and then I heard that, and there was light outside, and we went outside. Well, I don't know where the light went. It's in me, obviously, right?
So what did it look like when it came out of you?
Just white fire, like white fire.
But I mean, okay, so
Oh,
did it flow out of you? Did it come out of you in the form of a ball? What was what
like a ball.
shape was it in? It was a ball.
It was like a ball, but it had like these like a plasma around it that was white, like fire, I guess you could say.
How big was it?
It was pretty big. It's big.
And what do you think, looking back, what do you think it was?
I think it's me coming back and saying, I'm here. You can't blind me no more. I'm here to do my mission. If there is something that really cares about me, that is greater than these gods, then let me know. Is it worth it being here? Why am I still here? I don't want to be here, kind of a thing. And
So,
boom.
what do you think that was? Was it you?
I think it was me coming, my real true self coming out.
So your real true spirit came out of your body and was visible.
That's what I feel.
Okay, that's fine. I'm not doubting you. If you say it happened, that's fine. So you had a ball of light come out of you. You believe it was you. And then you saw a shooting star or something drop.
Yeah.
Into the apartment.
Outside.
Outside.
The apartment went, yeah, from my heart, it was in well, it was actually a mobile home, yeah, in my room. And the next thing my friend said, why are you opening portals? Don't you know we have enough opened already? And I'm like, I ain't opening no portals. What are you talking about? Back then, I didn't know what the heck she was talking about. I'm like, I'm not opening no portals. Oh, then I had to move out. There was a big fight after that. But anyway.
So why did your roommates think you were opening a portal because a white light came out of you? How did they get from a white light coming out of you to there was a portal?
I don't know, sir. I'm still trying to figure that out. I know that I can open portals and close portals in my astral, but you know, we can go through wormholes. That's why the military wants to keep an eye on us. They tag us, you know, if we want to go to the moon or Saturn, if we want to get out of here, they tag us.
So the white light came out of you. How did you go from the white light is out of you to outside? How did you get outside?
We went outside because we heard at the same time that the light went out of me, there was a light in the window that I saw going, and then, you know, exploding on the ground outside. And I thought that was it an asteroid? There has to be a hole burning outside, something. So we went all outside, and even the neighbors, and they're like, "What the hell was that?" I'm like, "I don't know. Did you guys see it? Yeah. Did you hear it? Yeah."
So how many people were you living with at the time?
2.
So there was 3 of you that went outside. Okay, and the neighbors came out. Everybody came out and saw nothing.
Nothing. So maybe something, I was merging with something, my angel self or star self. You know, maybe I was like, finally, hey, I'm here. Like, I'm here to protect me and my bloodline. I don't know. I think that's what it was.
All right, well, go on to your next experience after that.
So right after that, maybe about a week or 2 weeks later, I had this, right as I wake up, I have this guy coming out. He's like a Maitreya. Okay. He has a turban on his head, a beard, a white robe, and he has holes, you know, on his hands. He's coming out of a cave. There's light behind it, and then there's a triangle. And then he comes out and he's like showing me his hands. I'm like, what? Because I've always asked myself, was I a master? Because I always wanted to be a master. And it's like, we've already been masters, you know, later on I find out. But this guy shows up, and I'm thinking that's one of the Maitreyas. I don't know what.
So you met this being.
Mm-hmm.
Where were you when you met the being?
In my room and on my bed. I would just like, as soon as I open my eyes, I see that. What the heck is that?
So you saw it above you, in front of you. Where was
Right,
it?
and right, like in my eyes.
In your mind's eye.
Yeah, as soon as I wake up, like, you know how you're asleep and you wake up and you see things like that.
So were you seeing it with your eyes or with your psychic vision?
Psychic vision.
Okay. Was it physical or was it non-physical?
To me, it was physical.
How do you know it was physical? If it was just a vision in your mind.
Well, it was a vision. That's pretty much what it is then. He was not in my room. It's just as I woke up, I saw it. So it must have been in my psychic, in my mind.
Okay, when you saw it, okay, that means you saw something psychically in your mind's eye outside of you, but it was not likely to be physical if it's right in your vision in front of your eyes above you. Unless, was it, okay, I'm not going to characterize what you saw. I can only get you to describe it. Was it 3-dimensional, 2-dimensional? Was it large, small? Describe it beyond, give every detail, re-experience it as if you're seeing it.
I was there. I was there. It was a cave. I was outside of the cave. This man's coming out of the cave. I see a little light behind him, a triangle, and then he comes out showing me his hands. And
so you're saying when you woke up, you were instantly in a cave?
As I woke up, that's what I saw.
You woke up in a cave and saw a guy there who was, describing him again?
later on, I find he's the Maitreya. So he had a turban, a white turban, a beard. He had, the curly black hair, a beard, the white robe, and then he extended his arms out to me, showing me that he had, like Jesus, the
Stigmata.
yeah, the hole in his two hands. So I'm like, all right, cool, this is weird. But I'm not going to bow down to you either, because these beings in the astral sometimes want you to bow down to them and worship them. I'm not going to do that. Maybe he was showing me that I went through maybe I was ready for my spiritual walk, for my mission. I don't know. I
So
don't know.
what did you get from him? What feeling did you get from this?
He showed me a loving feeling, not a bad person. He was like a teacher. He was like, maybe he was teaching me something.
And how long did the vision last?
Like not even a second, like maybe a second.
Oh, so it was just there and gone.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go on to your next interesting experience.
So the next one is in the form of a dream, but the same thing happened. Right as I wake up, I was given this bill. It was like a $5 bill, okay? But it was not a $5 bill. But let me back up. I'm flying. And I'm looking at all these highways. I've never seen these white highways before. Why are they not aligned?
Is this a lucid dream?
Yeah, lucid dream.
Go ahead.
So I'm flying and I go in there and then I land. Me and my body. I don't have a car. I don't have a spaceship. Nothing. It's just me. And then I land there. And as soon as I land there, I see this white vehicle come. And then this light coming down in front of me. And there's these three beings. It could be Mary, Joseph, and Jesus. I don't know. I don't think so. But they look like it, okay? Like the man has like reddish hair, red beard. He's in jean jacket, jeans. The lady has short black hair, red lipstick, gothic makeup on, and all leather with like a little side sleeve here, shirt, leather pants. And then a little boy. The little boy is perfectly shaven. He's maybe about 7, 8 years old. Blue eyes. His face is just beautiful. He's wearing also denim jacket and denim pants and some black shoes. So he gives me this bill. And the bill it has a 5 on the right, top right corner has a number 5, another number 5 on the left corner, another number 5 on the right bottom, and another number 5 on the left bottom. And in the middle is a maroon planet, and on the right side of it, it has a Star of David. And he gives it to me. And then I go, and I'm like, okay, thanks. And then I go underground. That's when I saw a lot of weird stuff. There was like these people stuck on these plexiglass windows, like asking for help. But at the same time, my mom shows up with my niece, and she's like, "Hey, let's buy your niece some donuts." Like, and then I wake up. So I'm still trying to figure out what are they trying to tell me. One of the guys was one of the people I talked to about this said that I'm probably from Antares, from the Antares planet. Maybe that's what they were showing me. I don't know. A lot of weird stuff like that happens. It's my son.
Your dog? Is that your dog? Veronica?
Yes, it's my son. So
Your son has a dog, or you have a dog?
I have a dog and I have a son. So I probably have like another 20 more minutes.
Okay, that's fine. So you've had so many experiences in your life. If you've got 20 minutes, go over the experiences that have the most meaning for you, or the number of experiences you think you can fit into 20 minutes that are going to make it. This 20 minutes, a very interesting 20 minutes.
Okay, I'll talk about the haunted houses in Mexico and that I lived in, and then Well, I'll talk about Mars real quick. On Mars, I was on a mission. My name is Soel there, all in my black super soldier uniform, and we were rescuing children and females that were stuck in cages, and there were some reptoids there. I know it sounds crazy. It's not. I'm not making this up. This is my part of my memory that came back. I did a regression, and
So you did a 20-year and back?
yeah, more than 20 years and back. I'm pretty sure it's 60. I'm not sure how many, but I know Peter the Insider from ACIO has confirmed um, what I've told him, and he's told me other things. I was recently in Ukraine as well, in the astral. But anyway, let's go back to Mars. So what is happening is they have these children and they have these other beings as well as females in these small cages. There's some of them are bird cages, some of them are kennels, like animal kennels. There's water flowing under one of the areas in Mars, and this is the dark side of the. When they say the dark side of the moon, there's also like a dark side in Mars. Okay, and so there's running water and there's these electricity. Um, they're pretty much electrocuting them, and it's horrible. But me and my super soldier friends go in there and rescue them. We did fight against the raptoids. Um, they look kind of like dinosaurs, but they have like the short arms. And this being was also in my dream right before the incident happened in 2010. Okay, there was a one of those like a T-Rex before the incident happened in 2010 that I just talked about. A week prior to this, I am in a swimming pool with my children and my nephews and nieces in this dream form in the pool, and it's an indoor pool, and there's this T-Rex that comes, and I'm like, what the hell are you doing here? So I tell the kids, leave, you guys have to go, you know. And so the T-Rex goes, and I'm trying to hide in the bathroom, and then he comes over and bites my hand. And at the same time, it goes into another dream where there's a bunch of spiders and spider webs on top of my own home in this vision. And then that happens. So it was like a warning. I was giving myself a warning, I think. Or maybe they were saying, hey, we're going to come get you, you know.
So this was a dream you were having?
Yes, very short dream. But those things happen.
What makes you think it was more than a dream?
I come from a line of psychics. My grandmother, my mother, we all get warnings in our dreams if something's going to happen. I also had a vision in 2019, and I was not asleep. This was March of 2019, not asleep. I see this DNA black structure above my head, okay? And I say, this thing that's coming is false. They are going to put fear along with the DNA in the CROUN, right? Because we don't want to say that word because you might get your video taken down. I've had videos taken down of this plan thingy that's going on. And I told people don't get the, don't fall for it. I also saw boots on the ground. This was in March 2019, meaning there was a bunch of military in the U.S. and these people were in line. This is a vision. They were in line in the vehicle and giving a white piece of paper to the military. And only those people were allowed to drive. Okay. And I've had visions and dreams of floods happening. There was one occasion where my super soldier friends and I went and we took some kids and some people in a it looks like a bell as well, the ship. On the bottom there was an auditorium, and then on the top there's the command, and there's these screens. And so we were looking outside. I was looking outside the we'll call it the spaceship, okay, Space Force, and I saw these people coming from the ocean, from California, from New York, from they were coming out of the ocean, animals, children, men, and we were rescuing them. We put them on the ship, and then we took them to Mexico to feed them. There was a bunch of food there, like tons and tons of food. Some of the guys took over the men, helped them, kind of like uh, a debriefing. I took the women and children with my group. Prior to landing in Mexico, where we fed them, there's also a different chamber on the ship. On the top to the right, as I was walking, there was this man. It kind of reminded me of George Bush, but I don't know if it's him. But he was like in a gray form, like in an alien gray form with big glasses, short. And then he gave me a hug and he said, "I'm sorry." And I'm like, wow. And so then there's Hillary Clinton, Obama in a catatonic stage, and they give me a red button to push, and I push it and I send them away. Um, that's a vision that I've had since maybe 2017, that one. I know something's coming. I tell a lot of people to be careful about the fake alien invasion because that's what they want. They want one government, one world new order, which I do not consent to. They want us to go through the CERN portal for a new Earth. They want to use us that way, and I do not consent to that. They don't want to die. Okay, they just want it to go to the new Earth. Well, I'm not going with them, and I'm not going to help them. What they want is to go and be like these particle beings to exist in another dimension. So look at that movie with Johnny Depp. And that's called Transcendence. Okay, so real quick, I'm going to go to the haunted houses and then we'll end. When I was as a child, my grandparents lived in many haunted houses. And I was told that my father was in a crib and there was a fire that came down. What was it called? A lightning that came in front of him. And he was illuminated. I don't know what it was. Still trying to figure that out. There was many what they call ghosts. One time there was this it's like a little rock that would fall from the top of one of the houses, the rooftops. This was in Nogales, Arizona. And it would fall. And instead of the rock falling every night, just staying on the ground, it would go. It would pop. It would keep going and going and going. There was also some steps that we would hear on the bottom floor because there's like a 2-story house, and it kept getting closer and closer. But when you open the door, there's no one there. So, yeah. And talking about lightning, my mother said that I was 3 years old and I stepped. It was raining one day. I stepped to go outside barefoot, and there was a lightning bolt that went right in front of me, and I just stood there. So I don't know if I was taken or what happened. What kind of superpowers? Maybe I got my Thor hammer from there. I don't know. But that's pretty much it for now. We could do another recording later.
Okay, let me stop the recording. Hold on. Oh, thanks for being on the show. Oh, before we stop the recording, do you want to promote yourself in any way, shape, or form?
I make junk journals by hand, books. I do readings. I can tell you if you're in a program or not. I interpret dreams. I'm on Instagram, Facebook. Just Google my name, Veronica Bartolini, and my YouTube channel is Code Breaker Real Talk. I have others that were hacked, but some of the videos are still on there. It's Unchained Hearts and Unchaining Hearts. And I'll send you the links, or I don't know if you have them already.
I will, if you send them to me, I'll put them below the show.
Okay.
And I'll probably get a transcript of the show and put that below the show also. All right, well, let me stop the recording. Here we go.